wir haben neue Freunde, das ist die zweite Seite hier. Die habe ich jetzt ganz schön geärgert.
Ich möchte mal wissen, wo du das Wasser herkennst. Entweder die letzte ist Nummer.
Hello and welcome to vlog number 10. This week we're mostly focused on our basement. Since Dominic had night shift most of this week, for the most part you guys will get to join me. And I spent most of my time with the mini jackhammer removing old mortar, cement, gyprock mudding from the walls of our basement. There's definitely more glamorous and exciting jobs, but hey, it is what it is. Okay, let's go. Today I had the luxury of working by myself for a few hours, and Dominique came a bit later with the babies, so before I got going in the basement, just took a little tour of our property. There's our big hole to the foundation, and I'm just so glad that everything is so green and we don't feel exposed to the street despite having cut down quite a few trees. We actually found the volleyball net that belongs to the volleyball posts, and who would have thought after 30 years it's still in great shape, so awesome. Now we have a volleyball net. This week, a lot of the original video has me talking in German, so please excuse me, and I've done my best to dub over my own voice in English, and if there's some strange moments, then yeah, you know what's up. Anyways, here we're kind of looking towards the chaos corner. These lanterns, I think, are so lovely, although unfortunately many of them have been stolen, so maybe we'll find replacements a little bit later. Here are some of the paths that we're working on restoring. And yes, the wood and villa corner. So down to the basement we go. It is time to work. Hello, house. Bum, bum, bum. Our work location for the day. Yeah, there's a lot of rubble down here. So before I can get going, we have to get the generator going so we have some electricity. Somehow I find this so fitting. We've got the generator housed in the old transfer station house, and it's time to get this baby going. Let the fun begin. Okay, we are ready to roll. So we've got the light on, we've got electricity here, the little jackhammer here, and I prefer the smaller chisel because it just gets into the cracks between the bricks better. The big one is just too rough, I think. And since I'm working alone today, I decided to have some fun and see if I can get these little Bluetooth earphones underneath the earmuffs.
Throw on your boardies and grab your board. Short board, long board, fish board, fuck. The waves are cranking, it's time to charge. Let the gnarly waves run their course. Hey, loose on the party wave. Let's take over the other way. Hey, loose on the party wave. Look, take it. He's taking me there. Don't be clucked by the cleanup set. The overhead pumping surf. Getting to work is part of the fun. White House donuts, Muller, Rick.
So here we have our biggest challenge in the basement. As you can see, we have some sections that are originally built, and they were all, done with a nice lime mortar. It's really easy to remove. It's quite permeable. Moisture can diffuse easily, and it's pretty quick with the jackhammer to remove the plaster and also to kind of clean up the front of the joints. But here we can see this used to be an entrance, and we also have newer areas. The newer areas have a lime plaster on top that comes off pretty well, but as you can see down here, there's also cement, and that's not so easy. The problem with the cement is really difficult to remove from the wall without damaging the bricks, and it's also not permeable. It really locks the moisture, and it doesn't allow our basement to dry out or the walls to dry out, which is pretty high on our priority list. So we don't know how much moisture is coming in from outside, how much is kind of coming up from the floor. What we do know is that all of the plaster has to come down, including these cement areas, and all of the joints with cement are also going to have to be picked free. So that's going to take some time. Anyway, as you can see, this used to be a doorway, and we are planning on opening this up again, which means I'm going to save myself the work of freeing this section of wall. But the rest of the basement is pretty similar condition, a mix of old and new. Here you can see it a little bit better. This is the lime plaster here on top, and behind where there's little white dots, this is the cement area, and that's the part that's really difficult to remove from the wall. And yeah, it's all over the place where they did repairs. There is some sections where it's just straight up plaster with wood in the wall. They use that to mount different kinds of brackets and doors. Anyway, here you can see the joints where it's kind of free to the original mortar. And here we can see the areas that have been filled with cement and are going to have to be picked free. Here we found a really unfortunate surprise behind the plaster. This juncture between two weight-bearing walls is very damaged. So I'm not sure what's up here, but we definitely can't leave it like this. Seems to be falling apart. Although it's held for 30 years, so I mean, I guess that's the one reassuring point. Anyways, working on the walls continues. Here I'm actually in the coal storage room, and you do not want to know how many times I hit my head on those metal brackets. I probably should have just cut them off. So Dominic decided that we should fix that damaged area sooner than later. I mean, they are weight-bearing walls, and yeah, that doesn't look too good. Anyways, here you can see it from the other side. At the upper right corner is the damaged area. The guys got right to it. We propped up the steel girders in the ceiling, as well as the steel beam in the cross wall, and of course removed enough of the wall to have a good place to insert our new steel beam. And on the old steel beam we did some work too. Everything got kind of sanded, all the rust was filed off, and we covered it with a protective coating. Okay, step one, the new steel beam is in place. So Dominic's actually a mechanical engineer, and he has his own special machine construction company, and his dad also works in the metal processing industry. So they know what they're doing. Lenny is unpacking the welding machine, and they are going to weld metal plates onto the base of the beam to help disperse the weight a bit better into the wall. And they're also going to weld the new beam to the old beam just to make sure that there's also some horizontal stability. Hopefully overkill, to be fair, but we want to sleep peacefully, and this looks a lot better than before.
Kannst du diese Gammel benennen?
The Schweißen. Ich kann es machen, aber you have to show me how.
Spoiler alert, I'm pretty down for everything, but I've never welded, and I did not start here. So it's almost finished. Dominic's gonna head home with the little ones, and I'm gonna stay here a little bit. Okay, it is Saturday afternoon, and the men have left me on my own. No, not really. I mean, they got the steel beam in place, everything's been welded together, and my job is to start laying bricks. So you can see up here, hold on, get up here. Right, there's this gap between the steel plate and the masonry, and this all needs to be filled out really well so that everything is supported the way it should be. You kind of see that the new beam has been welded to this plate as well as the old beam, and here we kind of have a better look at the space where the bricks need to be laid. There's gaps all over the place here. Right, I'm gonna have to cut some little pieces to fit in there, and we're kind of looking through to the original area where we found the damage into our main room. So let's look at the other side. Yeah. So we decided to use swelling mortar. The advantage here is the mortar gains about 10% volume while it dries, and that makes it ideal for repairs and weight-bearing elements like these ones. The disadvantage is it dries quite quickly. It turned out it dried much too quickly for someone with as little masonry experience as me, and I ended up having to add some more water. After I added water, I didn't want to use it for any weight-bearing elements, but I didn't want to waste it, so I spent some time filling in some random holes in our basement walls, which needed to be done anyway. Gave me some much-needed practice. When Dominique came back in the evening, we went for attempt number 2 together, and that worked out much better. We had several cartridges of this heavy-duty filler, and it's kind of used for anchoring really heavy items in concrete and in bricks. And we used it all along this upper crack here between the steel beam and the wall above. Here where I'm showing that's been filled with the swelling mortar. However, this little crack up along the top was just too small to really feel confident that we'd, filled it adequately. And so we pumped several cartridges of this stuff in there. All right, let's see what we're gonna do this evening. The generator's on, we've got light, we've got the little jackhammer, and the job is to clean up some of these holes. We've got pretty big holes in the walls where some of the steel pipes from the former sewage system came through, as well as some ventilation from the coal ovens. Get cleaned up and ready to be filled with bricks. Okay, here we have a little bit of before and after comparison. This one's all cleaned up. Right, I didn't quite trust myself to take this big cement block out of here, but the rest of it's all been, brushed with the steel brush. All the little bits of debris have been moved away so we can lay the bricks there. This whole area is kind of wild looking, so I'm not sure if we'll remove that before we actually fill the hole, but I think it's a good start. Okay, so I made a really disturbing discovery in the attic. We have some mold starting. I'm up here all the time, so we know that it can't be more than 4 or 5 days old, but still it seems to be spreading fast. So that's obviously a big problem for us. We don't know about the health risks. If it were to be something that would damage the wood, that could be a nightmare. So it's gotta go, and it's gotta go now. So since we know the mold is really new and shouldn't be deep into the wood, we decided to treat it with ethanol. So 99.9% pure alcohol. We hooked it up to the air compressor and covered all of the areas plus a good meter outside of all visible mold. We went over it twice, and hopefully that should take care of things. I'll have to check in on that in a few days. Anyways, as if that wasn't enough, we do have one rotten corner, which we've known about and investigated well. However, some ants have moved in. So, yet and again, not such a thrilling discovery. Definitely spread some ant poison ASAP. Hopefully that'll take care of that as well. I know this is nothing unexpected, probably, with such an old building, but still, it's been a week of unfortunate discoveries. So this is what our basement looks like at the end of the week, and we'll continue down here next week.